Hello, everybody. We are just going to give you a minute to get in from the waiting room while we get started on today's event. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your day. We're really honored to have you here with us. So let's give everyone just a moment to get in and get settled, and then we'll get going. We have a lot to cover. All right, wonderful. Welcome everyone to today's event. My name is Gretchen Hansen. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at Turnitin, and I am really pleased to have you join us at our webinar today for Innovation and Integrity in the Age of AI, What's Next for Turnitin Feedback Studio. Before we get started, we have a little bit of housekeeping to cover. I just wanted to let you all know that we are recording today's session, so we will be sending that to you later. During the session, all participants are muted, but we do want this to be as interactive as possible, so please use the Zoom webinar Q&A to submit any questions that you might have. We are monitoring that with a whole team of folks here from Turnitin who will be able to answer your questions, so don't be shy. But also post any feedback or interaction that you might have in the chat. Introduce yourselves, get friendly. We want this to be as interactive and as helpful for you as possible. We are going to be sending an email after this event with the recording that you can share with your colleagues or review again. We'll also be including links to key resources that we cover today. So we hope you'll have everything you need to keep moving forward and take advantage of the information we'll be sharing today. On today's agenda, we have a really exciting lineup for you. We're going to start by talking about the challenges that are in education today and how we're innovating our learning solutions to address those challenges. We're going to particularly spend time introducing our new feature, Turnitin Clarity, as well as some of the long-awaited and exciting enhancements coming for Turnitin Feedback Studio. We're also going to talk about how you can bring these innovations to your institution with as little disruption and friction as possible, so that your students and staff and faculty can enjoy these and meet the needs that they have. We are going to have time at the end of today's session in order to ask questions and have a little bit of discussion. So please use that Q&A box in order to ask those questions so we can address what you are interested in learning more about. So with that, let me introduce today's presenter. Today, Marlon Rettiner is going to be our presenter. He is a seasoned ed tech leader with deep expertise in product management, AI, and student success technology. As the VP of Product Management at Turnitin, Marlon drives innovation and academic integrity, leading the team behind Turnitin Feedback Studio, including the Similarity Report, grading and feedback tools, integrations, and new innovations like Turnitin Clarity. With over 15 years in EdTech, Marlon has held various leadership roles in the industry, shaping impactful learning technologies that support educators and institutions worldwide. Marlon holds a master's degree in educational technology and instructional design from NYU and is a passionate advocate for leveraging technology to enhance education. So thank you, Marlon, for joining us. We're really excited to hear from you. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thanks, Gretchen, for that incredibly warm introduction, and really to all of you for making the time to join us today. As Gretchen said, my name is Marlon Rettiner. I'm the Vice President of Product at Turnitin. I have so many exciting things to share about how Turnitin has been innovating over the past 2 years. And the driving force for this innovation is a response to the massive and rapid changes we've recently seen in education due to the impact of generative AI. And I've been in, ed tech for 20 years now. And I remember, how every few years a new technology would come along that was going to revolutionize education. So wikis and live streaming video and MOOCs and virtual reality. I'm sure many of you could play along. And while all these added a lot to the landscape, I really believe generative AI is the first technology to come along that'll usher in a truly substantive change. And I'm guessing many of you feel the same. We spoke, well, really to understand how this technology is changing education, Turnitin surveyed and met with thousands of educators, students, and academic administrators. And our goal was to understand how people were responding to this change, how people felt about the use of AI, and ultimately how we could help. And I mean, what was really interesting is we got as many questions as answers. We got questions like, how much student use of generative AI is too much? Is AI going to hamper students' development of critical thinking skills? Should I allow AI to be used on an assignment? Maybe more importantly, when should I allow it? And very tellingly, as time went on, we saw fewer and fewer people ask how to stop it, and more asking how it can be used responsibly and effectively. One interesting finding was that, there's this sentiment that students and educators are at odds over the use of AI. But our research really showed that this wasn't the case. 78% of all administrators, educators, and students feel positive about the impacts that AI is having on education. But, at the same time, 95% of administrators, educators, and students think AI is being misused by students in some capacity. And the reality is both of those things are true. And it's what makes it so difficult to have the important discourse about how to incorporate AI in education. Students, they want to use AI, but they don't always understand the limitations and the consequences and proper use. Students are also really concerned that their peers are misusing generative AI in ways that could put them at an academic disadvantage. And educators face this really difficult challenge of ensuring students are truly learning how to process and evaluate information in meaningful ways and doing it for themselves. ChatGPT now is it's nearing 2.5 years old, which is a long time for students. They've been able to experiment. They've seen their peers use it both productively and unproductively. They know how tempting generative AI can be as a shortcut. And 64% of them are worried about the use of AI in education. 59% are worried about what this technology means for them long term. They know that they need to acquire AI skills, but don't really know what those skills are. They realize that they need to be able to think critically and solve problems to be successful in life. They know AI may not be helping with that. And further, they need to find ways to distinguish themselves from AI with skills employers are looking for both now and in the future. And this is, it's something that they worry about. Among educators, the concerns are echoed as well. The line between a student using AI to enhance their learning and cheating, it's just simply unclear. 29% of responding educators felt that partial use of AI is cheating, while another 29% felt that partial use is acceptable, and 32% fell somewhere in between. And as I'm sure, all of you can imagine, answers varied by grade level, by discipline, by institution, and even the goal of the assignments themselves. So, clear as mud, being an educator today on the front lines of this change with students is just really tough. And one thing that, really stood out to us when we talked directly to instructors is just how uncomfortable conversations with students about whether AI was used appropriately can be. There's that stress, the stress of students not knowing if they'll be accused of using AI, while at the same time, instructors, they're losing faith that what's submitted is original. And it's just a lot to handle. And what everyone agrees on is that while use of AI is a tough issue and people are all over the spectrum on what's acceptable, 86% of respondents agree that it's the responsibility of the institution to educate students on how to use AI responsibly. So let's go back to that first number I shared. 78% of all respondents feel the impacts of AI in education will be positive. So how do we get from where we are to that optimistic future? And this is where Turnitin has been innovating. We're looking to provide customer-driven solutions for very pressing challenges. Challenges like ensuring academic integrity with the rise of tools that make it so tempting for students to take another path. Like incorporating new technologies in assignments so students can learn to use AI effectively and responsibly. And freeing up educator time so they can spend it on personalized feedback and collaboration with students. So, with this background and these challenges in mind, Turnitin has launched a new offering, Turnitin Clarity. And I'm really excited to talk to you about this today. So when Turnitin started detecting AI about 2 years ago, after the release of ChatGPT, we began hearing how we needed a tool that can maintain the trust between students and educators while encouraging students to use generative AI productively and responsibly. Turning Clarity was born from this sentiment, and its features were developed in ongoing partnership with educators. We've led research activities going back to August 2024 with over 40 institutions in both higher education and secondary. And with each round of that research, we iterated on the Clarity design and features as we learn more. So let's talk about it. With Turnitin Clarity, students can access and tackle their writing assignments all within their institution's learning management system. This includes access to the assignment's instructions and rubric, and they have a composition space where they can write and edit their submission up until the due date. Once that final version is submitted, students can confidently demonstrate to their instructor that their submissions are original and representative of their learning and work. And not only are we creating a one-stop experience for students to compose and submit their work, Clarity also gives them the opportunity to learn to use AI tools responsibly, alongside the guidance of their instructor. When Turnitin Clarity's own AI writing assistant feature is enabled, and enabled by the instructor, students can use AI as a foundational writing assistant, empowering them to integrate this technology in a responsible way. And after a student's work has been submitted, educators are then able to view their students' entire drafting process, such as pasted text, typing patterns, construction time, draft history, not just the final submission. They can see the whole story behind the submission and how the final outcome took shape. We heard from countless instructors about how they were requesting students' version histories from, Google Docs and reports from other applications. With Turnitin Clarity, these insights are immediately available to them, not only to kickstart constructive, trust-building conversations between students and educators, but also alleviating the need to challenge the authenticity of the work in the first place. Writing history can be viewed through a simple playback function, along with easy-to-interpret reporting. When enabled, educators can also see where and how students use the AI assistants and provide guidance based on that usage. And, as I said before, educators have a lot on their plates. And in the age of generative AI, this workload only seems to be getting heavier. We don't want Clarity to add to that burden. For example, early feedback prompted us to build additional features, such as a summary of how the AI was used by the student, to remove the burden of, the educator having to read every prompt and response. What's more, Clarity leverages all of the integrity checks already available in the Turnitin Feedback Studio. So educators have a single view of all the integrity insights on a student's submission, from similarity and citation checking to AI writing detection for those that also have access via Turnitin Originality. And I could talk about Clarity all day, but I do think that a demonstration video, this one from Charlotte Perry Houts, our lead product manager on Clarity, really shows just how powerful this new offering is and why we're so proud to bring it to you.
Hi there. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Clarity, Turnitin's new student writing product that promotes responsible use of AI. Clarity is a new assignment type that provides instructors with transparency into their students' writing process and enables students to access AI-powered writing feedback that's designed with education in mind. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the end-to-end workflow today. Let's start by diving into the student experience. For this assignment type, students compose their work directly in the Clarity editor, where they have a one-stop shop for all their assignment details and writing assistance features. As you can see in this editor, I've already started working on my essay about sea turtles, and because this is a cloud-based editor, my work is always being saved automatically. I've got my assignment details here in the side panel, including instructions and a link out to my rubric, and I can submit my work directly from the editor as well. Hopefully you notice the feature that I'm really excited about, which is our new AI assistant designed to help students with their writing without doing the work for them. Clarity's AI tool is designed to be a helpful writing partner and not to detract from the student's critical thinking and learning process. Students can ask for feedback on their entire paper or on specific selections of text. And they have the option to write their own prompts here or to use the suggested prompts that are provided within the tool. Using suggested prompts pre-fills the open chat field with the detailed prompt, which is a practical example of effective AI interaction and fostering AI literacy because it allows students to learn how to prompt effectively to get the best result. Now let's go ahead and send this prompt off to see what feedback we get on the draft. The feedback that's provided is going to be based on the assignment instructions and the rubric provided by the instructor. So it makes sure that the guidance is not only helpful, but also directly aligned with the assignment's objectives. You'll notice that these aren't prescriptive fixes or changes, but rather they're helpful pieces of feedback that you could imagine a peer or an instructor or a TA giving after reading through my draft. Now, if the student tries to take some shortcuts, can you rewrite my whole paper for me, please? Like asking the tool to write their entire paper. The AI responds with something like, let's take a step back, and guides the student back to the core of their own thinking and analysis. You can see it kind of gives me some positive affirmations and offers me support in continuing my assignment. I think this feature is going to be a game changer for students because it provides real-time support based on their assignment's unique guidelines and ultimately fosters a deeper mastery of the writing process. Let's jump over to the instructor view. The writing report that results from the students' work in Clarity makes it really easy for instructors to understand the student's writing process, including a summary of how the student used AI. As you can see, the report provides a detailed replay of the student's writing process, and you can easily pause that, you can change the speed, and you can pinpoint exactly where the content was added, pasted, or edited. And you can see pasted text events shown here on the timeline in purple and also highlighted in the side panel. So this is every block of text that was pasted from an external source while the student was writing. And we're even identifying when that text came from a similarity source and specifying when it came from our own AI assistant. So this report makes it super easy to see the student's drafting process, to identify key moments, and to identify where text came from. Now I'll pause this, and to see how the student used AI while they were working, the report provides this concise summary of how they interacted with the tool and how they incorporated the feedback. You can also see the chat interactions categorized here, and the full chat history is also available in its entirety. We're really excited for the upcoming release of Clarity, and we're looking forward to continuing to evolve this tool with the input of our community of educators and students. I hope you're as excited as we are.
Thank you, Charlotte. So in summary, Turnitin Clarity was built to strengthen the relationship between the student and the instructor. Like you, we want students to focus on doing their best without fear of repercussions or being unfairly assessed. It also enables educators to help students incorporate AI responsibly while also validating the originality of the student's work. And lastly, it's built right into the Turnitin Feedback Studio with integrity insights and grading and feedback tools all in one place. So I know from the chat and questions, Clarity is already creating a lot of discussion about how Turnitin is approaching innovation. I'm equally as excited to share everything we've been doing over the last 2 years to modernize the Turnitin Feedback Studio, our all-in-one solution for integrity, feedback, and grading. With a reinvigorated focus on the needs of instructors and learners, our latest release establishes not just an enhanced experience, but a new foundation for rapidly delivering customer-driven enhancements. The new Feedback Studio, that journey started with last year's delivery of an updated similarity report. Over the years, customers have surfaced a variety of areas where we could improve the report. Mainly, it can be challenging to explain the similarity score to students, and it can be difficult to interpret and identify the most important matches. So among the most significant enhancements, We've added a new match categories feature, making the report easier to interpret and help pinpoint integrity insights in student papers, really saving educators time and effort in interpreting results and explaining them to students. Our goal is that by specifically identifying problem areas and breaking down the score, the similarity percentage into discrete pieces, it can improve legibility and free up more time for instructors to focus on meaningful and tailored feedback to the students' specific needs. This update also added improved support for assistive technologies, especially screen readers, for a more inclusive experience. We've significantly improved the grading and feedback experience atop the new report's foundation. We've completely revamped the way instructors leave comments for students. Our Turnitin's updated grading workspace empowers educators with more flexible ways to deliver timely and prioritized feedback to increase student engagement. And the goal is really to make the assessment process faster and more consistent for educators, helping accelerate feedback loops and provide more personalized learning experiences for students. So I want to go over some of those enhancements. One of the most obvious enhancements, we've moved our comments to the margin. And this really, it keeps feedback directly alongside the paper. So now instructors and students can view the submission while leaving or reviewing feedback, making that process much more efficient and engaging. One of my favorite features is the ability for instructors to pin specific comments to ensure the most important feedback is highlighted and emphasized to students. So for instructors who leave lots of feedback, about grammar or, with the thesis statement or that there needs to be more supporting arguments, providing a method to raise the visibility of key comments is so important. This doesn't just foster more engagement with feedback, it helps students make more targeted, impactful revisions. And we're also working hard to give students access to their feedback when and where it's most convenient for them. Our new mobile strategy is to create a modern, responsive mobile experience to allow students to access their reports and feedback on any mobile device, their phones, tablets. We're also working on making grading and feedback for instructors work from their tablets for greater convenience. And the beauty of this approach is our ability to continue to improve upon the experience without anyone needing to download or update new mobile apps. We also enhanced some of our grading options with long requested features, such as ranged rubrics and decimal grading. These features enable educators to assign more precise and nuanced grades, reflecting subtle differences in student performance, while providing students with more accurate and detailed feedback on their performance, giving them a clearer understanding of their strengths and areas for growth. We also redesigned our rubric and quick mark creation and management tools, making it a lot easier to create and find favorites while archiving those that you're using less. We also now enable instructors to more easily take a particular comment and associate it with a specific rubric criteria, making it clear for the student how they can improve in meaningful and grade affecting ways. One of our biggest motivations when taking on this update was to ensure we can continue to provide best-in-class, inclusive, accessible experiences to ensure every student is empowered to unlock their full learning potential. We've made significant investments in accessibility, including an updated document viewer that's optimized for screen readers, improvements for visual and high contrast support, and structured keyboard navigation. And we've baked all of this into our process for everything moving forward. All right, so yet again, I'm going to turn this over to a quick demo, this time from Mark Rickson, our Principal Product Manager, as I believe seeing some of these improvements is more impactful than me just talking about them.
Hi, I'm Mark Rickson, the Principal Product Manager for Turnitin Feedback Studio. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to show several of the enhancements of the new Turnitin Feedback Studio experience. All of these features were informed by customer requests by instructor and student research and leverage industry best practices in providing feedback. One of the first things you'll notice is how instructor feedback has been organized in the margin. Improving visibility for the instructor when grading and for students when engaging with their feedback. To highlight the most important feedback for students, instructors can now pin comments they feel are most critical for students to focus on and address. With a single click for the instructor, pinned comments will now be prioritized for the student in a summarized list that can easily identify what feedback the instructor deems most important for their attention and development. When it comes to grading, the new commenting system has also been enhanced to allow linking comments directly to rubric criteria. Our research with students made it very clear that they are most motivated to act on feedback when they understand its direct impact on their grade. Making these associations allows teachers to pinpoint specific examples in a student's work that affected the rubric criteria scores, giving students a greater understanding on where they have excelled in their work and where they need to improve. Those of you familiar with our current grading and feedback experience may have also noted we introduced a series of other enhancements. A new scoring rubric that supports range scores within performance levels, support for decimal grades, and many improvements to quick mark creation and management, for example, the use of quick mark colors.
All right. So we just showed a lot of enhancements to the grading and feedback experience, but I also want to mention that we're updating the foundations of our assignment workflows as well for simplicity and also to rapidly support future functionalities. We've created a new streamlined system for assignment creation, for rubric creation, for quick mark management. The new submission list, where instructors get, that overview of all the submissions on the assignment. And that whole list has been updated as well. The integrity flags have been updated, and it provides new tools for assignment management, such as the ability to see the AI writing score alongside the familiar similarity score if you have turned in originality. We now support extensions to help manage student accommodations. And several features are being added to sort and filter and search for those of you who deal with very large classes. And all of this is just the tip of the iceberg. I want all of our TFS customers to get the value of these new innovations, and I know so many of you want to know what else we're working on. So to that end, I'm really happy to spread the word about our recently launched TFS roadmap. This gives an opportunity for you to see exactly what we're doing right now to improve the feedback studio, where we're headed next, and what we're in the planning stages on to deliver later. And I can't, whenever I do a roadmap thing, I can't resist giving a sneak peek into some of these items. So one of these is audio video feedback. This is in development right now. We want to make it easy for instructors to highlight the messages that really need to be seen or heard to help the student improve. And we know that video summaries offer a deeper level of personalization and connection for feedback that, through our research, we found that students find far more engaging and impactful. Looking slightly further down the road, we're also at work on ways to use generative AI to take time-consuming tasks for instructors and streamline them. For example, later this year, we'll let instructors choose to have AI auto-summarize their feedback, taking all of their rich, personalized comments and suggesting how they might organize that information for the student as a summary. And that organization can be done by rubric criteria, opportunities for improvement, or just simply labeled sections. And we're on the topic of innovation in this entire webinar. For the many of you who also have Turnitin originality, the new report The new report format makes it really easy to switch back and forth from similarity detection to AI writing detection. And since the launch of our AI writing detection capabilities in April 2023, we've been making continuous improvements to it to ensure it stays reliable and keeps pace with the constantly changing world of AI writing tools. We launched paraphrasing detection to provide educators with additional insights into AI misconduct. We expanded our capabilities to include Spanish and Japanese, with more additional languages currently underway. And with the rise of AI bypasser tools by students, these humanizer tools, we're currently looking at a fall release to better detect and identify those modifications as well. So I want you to get the most out of everything Turnitin is building. And it's important to us that adopting updates like the new Feedback Studio and new innovative solutions like Turnitin Clarity is just dead simple. It's simple to provide to your faculty and students. All of these updates come with thorough resources for change management, and most importantly, enabling these updates, it's fully in your institution's control. I want to talk a little bit about the how of it. So Turnitin is leveraging OneEdTech's LTI 1.3 standard for future development. The standard brings a higher level of security and privacy for institutions, enhanced functionality for improved integrations, and it lets us work more closely with our LMS partners to bring updates to all of you faster. And just to mention a little bit about these updates, it goes beyond new innovations and features. They also give us a single path to continually deliver quality of life updates. So bug fixes and accessibility updates. And we can do that for all of our customers at once without them needing to install, custom integrations, manage versions, any of that. The standard takes care of that. And those of you, so I want to talk a little bit about administrator control as well. So we really understand that institutions need time to manage change, train staff and students. For those of you already on an LMS that supports LTI 1.3, your administrator can enable the new Feedback Studio for you whenever the time is right for your institution. It's available as an option in your accounts right now. For those of you who use the Turnitin web interface for student submissions and class management, or even for testing purposes, your Turnitin administrator can enable this right now. Administrators can control if you move to the new experience, stay completely on the classic experience, or even give instructors the choice of which experience to use. For those of you that try other Turnitin add-ons like Turnitin Clarity or Paper to Digital, which supports handwritten assignments, administrators can choose when to make those tools available as well with the click of a checkbox. So Turnitin, we're committed to putting this control in your hands. My ask of all of you is to go try the update. It is available right now. And as I said before, we're doing whatever we can to make these transitions as simple and easy for you as possible. So we've prepared a lot of new resources and documentation to help introduce all of these new features, and resources for your instructors and students, things that you can repurpose for them. They're all available for you on our resource center. For those institutions that are still planning their upgrade to LTI 1.3, we have very robust documentation available. This includes guides, videos, webinars. We also have technical implementation consultants available to help with any questions or unique challenges that you may have at your institution. Just reach out to your account manager. They can help guide you. So again, I encourage all Turnitin customers to check out these updates and resources. When you're ready, the administrator can simply enable the new assignment type as the default for instructors. I will say on July 15th, we're going to automatically switch to this new assignment by default in our customers' accounts. I do not want you to worry about this. If that timeline doesn't work for you, your administrator can easily opt out of that update. They've already received multiple emails from us telling them exactly how to do that. Also, if you're not on LTI 1.3 yet and you're not using Turnitin's web access, nothing's going to change for you on July 15th either. When you're able to update to LTI 1.3, though, everything will be set and ready for you to go. All right, that was a lot. So, Gretchen, I'm going to hand the mic back over, take a drink of water, start looking at all the feedback. So, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Marlon. Tons of really great information. The chat is like popping. The questions, we've gotten so many questions, people really interested in kind of like a lot of details, ins and outs of how this all works, which is awesome to see. We are a little buried into the questions, so keep them coming. We'll take some time to answer a few of them in a minute. But I also want to take a pulse check with all of you who have taken time to attend today and just see what you're thinking. What do you think about this? So I'm launching a poll right now to see if all the things that Marlon shared and talked about, is there anything you found valuable that you want us to reach out and learn a little bit more about and kind of talk with you a little bit more about that. This will help us to bring you the information and the more detailed uh, content that really is going to be helpful for you. So go ahead and take a minute, answer this question. You can choose as many of these options as you like, and then we will include this in some follow-up outreach by your account manager or your account executive. So I'll just leave this open for just another minute, and then we will get over to some Q&A. Great. All right. Looks like just another minute. We've got about half of you who've participated. So if you want to go ahead and raise your hand on anything to follow up on, now's the time to do it. All right, great. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll now. Thanks for participating, everyone. And you can see we've had lots of interesting feedback, lots of excitement about student writing with Clarity, always interested in AI and AI paraphrasings, which is great, but love to see some excitement about the new grading and feedback features for Feedback Studio. I'm also really excited about those. I think they're gonna really be a game changer for your institutions and your instructors. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and move into some Q&A. A few questions. We've had a lot of really detailed questions that came through the Q&A, and apologize we aren't able to get to all of them because they're a lot very detailed, a lot of specific information. But I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about the student writing experience. So, Marlon, if you could you talk a little bit how you can really get students to use this different writing experience with Turnitin Clarity. Like, what is the thought around that? What kind of fed into the development of this solution?
It's an interesting question. Early on, especially when we went on site, a lot of instructors, they asked us, can I really get my student to use, something else, not Microsoft Word, not Google Docs, to author assignments? And we this was a concern early on, but what we're finding is that this concern kind of has been really tapering off as we've been building Clarity out. The major editors, so Word, Google, they're all including AI to help their customers be more productive, not students, but just customers overall. And, all the major browsers, they allow plugins that do the same. And all of these additions, they not only add clutter and distraction, but kind of a temptation to shortcut the learning process. And Clarity, on the other hand, it just takes a different approach. It keeps things simple. The interface is uncluttered and intuitive and familiar. More importantly, from the student's perspective, writing within Clarity enables them to focus on their writing without worrying about having to prove the originality of their work or having to worry about losing out to some other student who may have used AI tools irresponsibly. So, I really think the integrated AI assistant being controlled by the instructor and visible to the instructor, that's the it's a big decider on, and they have like total decision access over whether to give the students access to it. So with Clarity, really students can learn those skills, like how to integrate AI in their writing without unexpected consequences or misuse accusations. So I actually think a lot of students, and in our testing with students, they found it very intuitive, very easy to use. And it takes away that worry component, which I think is just growing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The other big question that we've been getting is really about readiness and accessing these new features with Turnitin Feedback Studio. So could you talk a little bit more about, how they access it, maybe, the LTI 1.3 dependency, and then just sort of the timelines and, how we're making it easy for institutions to bring this into their space.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to hammer this pretty hard, but I think it's the kind of thing that I want to reiterate a lot. That if you're not ready to move, that's completely fine. There's no forced upgrades. There's no planned end of life date for the classic experience. We want you to use what works best for you. Um, that said, of course, I encourage everyone to make their plans for moving forward, to make their plans for starting to leverage the LTI 1.3 integration if they're not already. The new workflows, the product enhancements, all those things we discussed today, they're being added to the updated experience. And this is really where we're focusing our future development. And that's a future that, now all of you can see through our roadmap. And if you're excited about those things, if you're excited about what we've built, we really want you to come on this journey with us. So you can start testing that new experience now. You have no need to fully switch. Web access works for that testing if you're not yet on LTI 1.3 and you're a customer that's integrated with an LMS. So we encourage you to try it. We really hope as many of you as possible will take this journey with us and do the upgrade if you haven't already to LTI 1.3.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marlon. Okay, so the rest of the questions that we have really center around a few themes. So instead of going into, the detailed minutia of all of them, I wanted to point you to a few links that I just put into the chat. The first link is a resource center. So this is where we have gathered up all of the documentation that you might need at your institution. So this includes user guides, this includes an overview of the new features and functionality that's coming. It includes student resources, instructor resources, and also links to additional webinar and video content that you can consume to, understand how do I make that move into 1.3 if we're ready to do that at your institution. So please check out the Resource Center. The other thing to note that I've put in the chat is the roadmap. So this is where you can see all of these great features that are on the way, including summary comments, audio-visual comments, things like that. We got a lot of questions in the chat about those. So stay tuned with our roadmap. We have a lot of new features that are coming and coming quickly. So that's going to be a great resource for you. And then the third link that I put in there is a collection of AI writing resources. So there was a lot of chatter and questions about AI detection, how that works, how the report works, how you can support your students, how you can have conversations about the use of AI. So want to refer you to that page because it also has a very deep set of materials that could really help you depending on the questions that you have at your institution. Okay, so I think with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. For those of you who were asking about a certificate of attendance, please go ahead and pop your name into the chat so we can get that to you. And I will be sending those out to you after the event today. All right. So just to wrap us up, Marla, if you want to scoot forward just a slide or two. I wanted to just reiterate that, today's session was really talking about how we're innovating on our classroom solutions. So really focusing on Feedback Studio, looking at how we're bringing in Turnitin Clarity and some of the other products that support that. But, Turnitin is really focused on innovating across the spectrum at your institution. So we do have solutions for your researchers. We have solutions for your high stakes programs or your assessment solutions. And those are also really rapidly innovating. We didn't have time to really get into all of those things today. So if those are areas where you are looking to support your faculty, your staff, your students, please reach out to your account executive. They'd be happy to tell you more about what's happening for those products as well. But thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for the active participation in the chat and in the Q&A. Be looking for the email that's going to be coming out with the link to this recording, which you can share with your friends, your colleagues, and also the links to the Resource Center and the roadmap, so you can keep following along and be ready as these changes come into your space. So really appreciate your attendance. Wonderful to have you, and everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.